Hi, this is the Black Bear Prepper, and today we're going to be talking about the best tents for scouts. Okay, now this is not the lightest weight tent, this is not the most efficient for summer or winter or whatever. We're going to be talking about 3-season tents. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the other seasons, the 2-season and the 4-season, but mainly we're talking about the basic needs for a scout tent. Okay, now what we're looking for a scout tent is a 2-man backpacking tent. Now, like I always say, you can take a backpacking tent car camping, but we can't take a car camping tent backpacking. They weigh too much. They have things that do not allow them to be able to be used for backpacking. So when we're purchasing for our scouts, we want to look for backpacking tents to make our value of our dollar stretch. So starting out, we're going to talk a little bit about this tent right here. This is what we call a 2-season tent. 2-season tent meaning that it is okay for summer and just slightly, spring and summer, okay? Not fall, not winter, none of that, okay? Now what makes it so it's a 2-season, and the easiest way to tell is that the fly, which is the rain fly up top, does not come all the way to the ground. And it does not have a vestibule, which is the porch on the front. So, look for that. So we've got a door here that does not have a vestibule that comes off the front or a fly that goes all the way to the ground. Now, most of the time with your car camping tent, you're gonna have fiberglass poles. We wanna stay away from fiberglass poles. We wanna look for tents that have aluminum poles, okay? Now, when we get into tents I recommend, this happens to be an REI Half Dome. The one we're going to be recommending for you will be the REI Passage. It's the exact same tent in a new version of this tent. So what's nice about this tent, if you look here, we have 2 vestibules, and this is the complete cutout in here. Allows each boy to have a full access into the tent. So they're able to get into the whole entire tent here, put all their gear back there, and each boy has a door and a vestibule, a porch off to the side. We also have aluminum poles, okay? Now what I like about the Passage tent more than all the others, it only has 2 poles. Super easy to set up. Any boy can set it up without too much effort. So having them set it up, we always want to make sure we set up tents before we leave so they know how to do it in case it's raining or something, but that's going to help. Now the other thing you'll see is that our fly goes all the way down here to the bottom. And you'll notice that as it's all the way down here to the bottom, when it rains, it's not going to soak that area. So if you touch the side of the tent, it's not going to soak through. The other thing we're looking for is a tent that has full taped seams on our. And that basically means that all of our seams have a coating over the top. Now some of your higher end tents will be what they call welded, which means they actually squeeze them together, heat them, and glue them together with heat. This particular one's been sewed and then seam tape, and that's what you're gonna see on most of your tents out here. So we also have a nice window here that we can see out, let light in, kind of tell us when we're supposed to wake up. The other thing we wanna see is full-size vents. A vent that's going to allow us to get underneath there so that we can allow air to come in. I am against one-wall tents, single-wall tents. I want to see a double-wall tent, basically a rain fly, this rain fly, on top of our standard tent. That allows us to have good ventilation when we need it, but also being able to take it off in the summertime. Maybe we're not worried about dew or anything else, we just want to keep the bugs off. We can just take the inner tent to keep the bugs away. With this tent, again, we've got good ventilation. We've got 2 doors. We have the ability to have aluminum poles, a very easy setup. Now tents come in 3 parts. You'll have your footprint, which is going to be this guy underneath you. So we have a footprint, which is not to protect the tent from water. It is to protect the tent from being cut. So that is the idea of it, is that if you rub on the bottom of the tent on a sharp rock, it is a sacrificial lamb basically, and the idea that it will cut that vestibule or the footprint, which is replaceable, and not hurt your tent. Same thing when we're seeing people with tarps. We want it to come in, if we're gonna use a tarp instead of a footprint, they tend to be expensive. What we're gonna do is come in at about 1.5 inches all the way underneath the tent. It is not meant to keep water out. In fact, we wanna fold it underneath the tent so it actually is, you know, where the tent on top is overlapping the sides by about 1.5 inches all the way around. That keeps, if any rain comes down or any moisture, it does not collect and come underneath the tent. So that's what we're looking at there. So the other thing we want to stay away from are ultra lightweight tents. Most of your ultra lightweight tents are similar to this. We have a single pole structure, okay? We have lots of mesh. The mesh is a problem in itself with the idea that we don't have a lot of structure in the tent. So they tend to be really flimsy. So if the boys are touching the side of the tent, they're gonna have problems, okay? They're also thinner aluminum poles. We end up getting these little junction points which can break. So I tend to like tents that have just standard 2 poles, okay? Clipping designs like this is really nice. I do not like sleeves. So the sleeves are usually what would go over top of the poles here and they slide through. That's very difficult to do. And then we clip on. So we're gonna go ahead and clip it in place. Okay, now with this tent, we've lost a door. That means every boy that wants to get out and use the bathroom or anything else has to go through that same door. So they have to wake everybody up. Their packs are all outside. That's a pain. Versus a tent like this where they can put their packs farther back inside the vestibule or the porch, put their dirty boots out there, and able to get out of the tent very easily, each person. So if this boy has to use the bathroom, he hops right out. That boy hops right out. It doesn't affect them, plus the dual venting, which makes it really nice. Now, like I said, we're not looking for the lightest weight tents out there. Lightweight tents are gonna have a problem with being too flimsy for the situation we're using them for. We don't wanna use 2-season tents, because 2-season tents are great for summertime, but as soon as it starts raining, you tend to get a lot of water coming into the tent. We want to look for tents that are fully seam taped on the top and bottom. We want to look for those bucket bottom tents. Sorry about this, guys. So we want to sit there and have tents that are fully seam sealed on the bottom of the tent. So this, all the way around, I can get water up to this point here, all the way around this tent, because it's fully seam sealed. And remember, that's that seam with a piece of tape over the top. So the tent itself, the bottom is waterproof. You're protecting it with your footprint. So, as always, this is the Black Bear Prepper. Have a great day.